Okay, we often get people coming back and they've got different things, and many times they're not following all the things that we recommend, and that's okay because you don't have to. But sometimes I kind of wonder to myself, gee, I mean, how comes you guys won't do what I ask? You know, so I'm going to talk about creatine. Creatine we recommend for our patients, and I want to start off by giving you a little bit of background and tell you one of the things we like about the MGB is the massive weight loss. In other words, our patients come to us, and we would argue they've spent a lifetime battling their weight, battling overweight, battling obesity, battling hunger, and you said dieting and fighting and struggling, and when they come to me, they failed. They admit that diet and exercise and these other techniques have failed. And then we arrive, I think, in my own mind, kind of like the cavalry, and we go out and we win that battle. We're taking down Mr. Obesity. We get him down, we punch him, we twist his arm, turn his nose, and we win that battle. And so we see our patients lose weight. And the average numbers work out like this. For the average patient that we see is 300 pounds pre-op. Some are 250, some are 350, some are 200, some are 400, but the average weight pre-op in almost 6,000 people is right at 300 pounds. Okay? And the weight loss follows a logarithmic curve. The first month, our patients lose on average 30 pounds. At 3 months, our patients lose on average 50 pounds. At 6 months, our patients lose on average 80 pounds. And at 1 year, our patients lose on average between 140 and 160 pounds. So we take 300-pound women and convert them to 150, 160-pound women. So that's massive weight loss. That sounds good externally, but there's a trick, a negative going on inside that we don't like.
Nice.
Yeah. Can we get a hammer for that clock? Might not be the clock. So, what's the negative about that weight loss? Well, one of the things is that a heavy person's body is not good about burning fat. That's how comes they're fat in the first place. A heavy person doesn't want to burn fat, so that when we starve our patients post-op, a lot of the initial weight loss is water and muscle. So we like the weight loss, but we're grumpy, we're disappointed, we're embarrassed, we're sad that a lot of the weight loss is loss of muscle. We envision it a little bit like somebody who's saving for a rainy day. They're putting away gold for a rainy day. Unfortunately, they're giving it to Ebenezer Scrooge. So when we think of our heavy patients, all that fat that's on their bottom and on their tummy and their chest, that's like gold stored in a bank account for a rainy day. And then we come and take away your income, and your body should say, oh, no problem. I have all this gold stored in my bottom and my tummy and my chest. I'll use that fat for calories. And we go downstairs to the vault to unlock those calories. And you say, I'm short of money this month. And Ebenezer Scrooge says, sorry, you can't have the money from the vault. So you have to go home. Poor Bob Cratchit has to go home, and to heat the house, you have to burn the furniture. You have to burn your clothes for heat because you can't use all that stored money that Scrooge won't let go. That's your body burning muscle, which we don't want it to do. We want it to burn that fat, and it doesn't do that. Now, as the year passes, as time passes, your body will finally break open that vault and start to give up fat. But we want to do everything we can to build muscle and to maintain muscle. And that's where creatine comes in. Okay? Creatine helps build muscle. Now, there are many supplements that people have argued help build muscle, and some are illegal. So like testosterone and growth hormone for Barry Bonds to hit his home runs or whatever, or I don't know, did Lance Armstrong, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, so there are illegal ways to get human hormones that make you build muscle. Obviously, we don't recommend those to you. What we do is say there is some good research on creatine that shows it helps build muscle. And creatine and glutamine and whey protein, which we recommend, actually help build muscle in some real difficult situations like AIDS victims. You know, AIDS victims get really thin and often die of malnutrition. There are studies that creatine and glutamine may help that. Now, creatine initially was tested in weightlifters. You know, guys who, like me, participate in physique contests. And so they want maximum muscle, and they want to be ripped and thin, and they've shown that you can lift more weights, you can build more muscle in controlled prospective trials if you take supplemental creatine. So for our patients, we recommend take supplemental creatine. It's good for you after the surgery. But more than that, there's other research. They took creatine out to a nursing home and found elderly men at the nursing home. And they gave them crossword puzzles to solve. And they didn't do that well because they're elderly men in a nursing home. Then they fed them creatine and they did better. Because creatine is involved in muscle cell energy, but also in the energy cells of the brain, the neurons. Anybody want to be a little smarter? Then they said, gee, this creatine seems pretty good. Why don't we just give it to mice and see what happens? And they live 10% longer. If you and I live to 70, that would be an extra 7 years of life. Creatine, anyone? Okay, finally, it turns out that you and I can look at each other and notice some of us are bigger and more muscular than others. And surprise to me is that we are built by God with a chemical that suppresses muscle. And it's got a name, it's called myostatin. As the kids say, Google it. Myostatin. If you have a lot of myostatin and you lift weights, you won't build as much muscle as somebody who has lower myostatin. And in fact, there's a baby born in Germany who has a deficiency in myostatin, and he looks like a cartoon character. He's big and muscular. He's called the muscular baby from Germany. So people tested him, they found the gene, and then they fixed mice, so they blocked the gene called myostatin, and the mice were born with big muscles. Mighty mice.
Myostatin might know.
And that's because the myostatin was inhibited. Finally, they've got a cow, or a couple of cows that they've grown, and this was a big, muscular cow. They did research, and they gave mice creatine, and they measured myostatin, and creatine depressed myostatin and stimulated testosterone a little bit, which helps build muscle. Have I convinced you yet?
Well, you've convinced me that you're talking about building muscle, and I actually need more body fat is what I need. My body fat is really, really low.
But in our patients, I can tell you, although you may not think you need more muscle, you're incorrect. You need more muscle, and in addition, you need more body fat, but the way to go about that is to stimulate the muscle first.
Okay. In addition, the other issue that I had, I did have